All right, so what's going on, everybody? Sorry for the small delay. We had back-to-back bye weeks. We had some things going on, but nonetheless, you see him. He's back. I'm back. It's Spotlight 39 Live, the podcast. That's right, the podcast where we talk about the big games coming up. Typically, we recap the big games from last week, but this time, man, we solely focused on the ones straight ahead. So before we get started and talk about those, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Support the channel that supports you. Check out the sponsors, I Am Power Energy, as well as the Great White Premium Apparel. Check out their website, greatwhite.shop. More importantly, check out the 39 Hearts Foundation. It is on our website, spotlight39.com. And as you see, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we did turn it pink like we do every year. That's a lot to get out of the way. Zach, welcome back. How are you feeling, good sir?
Yeah, man, I'm doing great, dude. We got a full slate of games coming up this week. Obviously, you got the top two teams facing off, Mater Dei Bosco, but we got a lot more sauce cooking outside of just that SoCal matchup. And on top of that, it's going to be a fun weekend in SoCal because not only do you get Mater Dei Bosco, but my Dodgers are in the World Series, so hopefully we can take down the Yankees.
Yes, I am going to be a massive Dodgers fan because I
Good.
am a huge Red Sox fan and more importantly,
Okay.
a big Yankee hater. No
Yep.
disrespect to anybody who's
Well,
watching.
hey,
I
thank you
don't
for
like the
Mookie
Yankees.
Betts. Thank you for Mookie Betts, man. I appreciate it for sure.
You are welcome. We gave away pretty much our entire team that year. But
Yeah.
let's talk football, man. This ain't baseball season. This is high school football. We got some sauce, lined up, and let's just kick off that sauce. All right. So as you see, we are joined by our special guest this evening. He is a brand new Michigan commit. He goes to Parish Episcopal down there in Texas. He is your 2026 wide receiver, Jaylen Pyle. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me on the interview. I really appreciate that, both of y'all.
Yeah, for sure, man. We've been, I've been talking to mom for a little while, saying, "Hey, when can we make this work?" And this was well before the commitment. I was like, "Hey, we need him on the show. We need him on the show." She was like, "Yeah, let's aim for later October. You guys had a big game coming up, and then bang, a couple of days ago, we get the Michigan commitment. So we're gonna have some fun conversation around that. But let's rewind the clock, man. Zach, you ready to kind of start this thing fresh, and let's talk about this off season. So, Jaylen, if you don't mind, just kind of walk us through your off season. What did you training look like? Did you do 7-on-7? Did you camp real hard? Talk to me about that. But then also, how has it tied into this year? With the pads come Friday Night Lights.
So, always it's a must. I train with Coach Hooks. He's the best receiver trainer in the country, in the world.
Shout out to
So,
Coach Hooks. Let's go.
I was
That man will drop
trying
knowledge
to
on you, without even thinking about it.
yeah, yeah. He's been my receiver coach since eighth grade. So he's been putting all the tools in my tool bag. So I was always with him, me and Sawyer, and all the other receivers, Bryson, Beckham, and Darby would all coordinate. Throwing sessions after school right before spring ball started, so we can get that time in already and kind of be ahead of the curve. I didn't really do too much 7-on-7 because I was kind of focused more on like getting with the team and doing like team revolve stuff, so we can really hit the ground running for the season and have no wrinkles. Yeah, weight room was huge. Weight room was huge. You got to get big. You got to get strong and you got to get fast. So that those were probably the biggest things that we've done. Those just carry into the spring ball and putting the pads on, and we were just clicking.
So with the clicking, man, talk to me, Zach. I'm sure you've probably seen some more highlights than me, because you watch like 40 TVs every week. But let's talk about this season. He's having a year. Him, Sawyer, they're connecting, they're looking good. Let's talk about this season.
Yeah, no, I mean, you just look at what you've done so far this year. 8 games, you're already, close to the 1,000 yard mark receiving wise. Just talk about, what was the biggest thing you kind of worked on from your sophomore to junior year that's showing the production we're seeing every Friday night now.
I just building that connection. Just having that trust between me and Sawyer, where if things go south, just throw it to me. 'Cause I'll make a play 10 times out of 10, and just kind of building that trust with each other. And like I said, coordinating those things really was kind of just showing like the leadership and the want that we want to get better. And people look at those things, and especially quarterbacks when you're trying to get out there, trying to run routes, always wanting to work, always wanting to throw. Like they take notice of that, and they see it, and they'll throw you that ball. So all my teammates do, and we all eat.
And you brought up Sawyer Anderson, man. He's having another great season, but this is a dude that's thrown for over 12,000 career yards. What are some things that just connect with you two when you guys are out there on Fridays?
Shoot, everything from the spring out from my sophomore year, from everything. It's really just building that connection. I'm just so grateful to be a part of his history, and him breaking all these records every week. It's like a new record, and I'm just be a part of it.
Yeah, so he's out there breaking records. You're a big part of that, but obviously it's a team sport. So let's talk about some of the guys that surround you and Sawyer that maybe go under the radar that, might could use an extra boost in their exposure, their tool bag, right? Because you got Coach Hooks blessing you. Let's use this Spotlight 39 podcast platform to hopefully boost them. Shout some guys out.
Now, always, coach. One of the people that's kind of showed me the ropes of everything. I mean, she really without him, he showed me the offense. He was helping me after practice. We get on the phone and break down plays. That's my boy Bryson Fields. He wear number 1. Yeah, he's like a big brother to me. He's an amazing guy, an amazing teammate, amazing friend. Number 0, Carson Darby. I've known him since like 6th grade. We would always be at like the same camps. He trains with Hooks too. Just a real competitor. We all got the same tool bag, so it's fun watching us go to work on those Friday nights and seeing what Coach Hooks taught us and seeing it work and apply it against real defenses. My boy Beckham, number 17. He's just a great player. Like he gets open so much, and people like underlook him. But he'll have like sneakily like 140 yards on the team, just getting stops and people playing off on him. And he a tall dude. He can run, so he's a great player. He knows the playbook in and out. This is just a great guy.
Look, Zach. Did you just catch that? That's pure leadership right now. Young man's 2026. He didn't just call out some teammates. He
You're going
very
with the numbers,
clearly called them out. He
everything.
blessed us with their name, their
Yeah,
position, their number, and a snapshot of who they are on the field and a little bit
I
about who
love
they
it.
were off the field. And I don't even think he maybe even realized that. But you gave us everything. So when I cut this and I plug it out on social media, that's gonna be a great clip, man, for those guys because obviously you got a lot of eyes on you. We're going to play this clip and hopefully get some eyes on them. But with that leadership comes a big commitment. And you see the M on the side of the screen. You just made it public a couple of days ago. So talk to us. Why Michigan? And I'm gonna let Zach chime in, man, because I'm sure he wants to dig a little deeper. But we've had some dudes on here. We had Brady, Hart. We've had Andrew Marsh,
Yeah,
right? Did
Andrew
who else
March, yeah.
did I feel like we've had somebody else on there, but we've had some dudes already committed. So why Michigan for you?
For me, it was really the coaching. You know, they had that barbecue at the big house. They had Brady there. They had Andrew there. And I really just got to, work with Coach Bellamy, sitting in on meetings, go break down film, and then go apply it on the field that entire weekend. And, just watching him coach and the way he coaches, like, Coach Bellamy's an amazing coach. He's he's phenomenal. Like the way he explains it and the way he puts it together makes it just so easy to go out and apply it. And it always helps when you got a quarterback like Brady slinging it to you. So I like to call him like he got a robot arm. He it's right on your face every single time, and he's an amazing quarterback. And, learning from Andrew too, because he's older, and seeing his process and seeing how his timeline's a little bit sped up because he's a 2025, and it was it was this year. Just him showing like love for the game to me too, just like showing me different ways to get in and out of routes and how to set people up on routes, and just learning from him and Coach Bellamy was really that kind of won me over.
Yeah, hey, I gotta ask you too, man. I know the big house gets crazy, man. It gets over 100,000 people at games. Can you just tell the Wolverine fan base what they're getting in you when you get there in about a year and a half?
And they gonna get a playmaker. They're gonna get a playmaker. I want that stadium rocking every time I pull up in there. So I really want to truly leave my mark in Ann Arbor, and just being up close, because I went to the Michigan Texas game, and just hearing the sounds, like it was a sea of yellow, and it was just amazing. Like it was so loud, and you could really see how they fit 110 something thousand people in there. Looked even more.
Look. So you got to experience probably one of the biggest games of the year. With Texas coming to town. We didn't talk about Brady. We talked about Andrew. Now let's talk about some guys that maybe are uncommitted right now or possibly committed elsewhere that you would like to see flip and join you at the University of Michigan. So who are some guys that you are currently going after? Because look, Brady, he held nothing back. He shouted out like five dudes, one of which is my guy Savion Hyder, the 26 running back here in Virginia. So who are some dudes that you reach out to, that you talk to, that you want to have join you in the big house?
Shoot, since you're on the topic of running backs, my boy Javian Osborne, he plays out in Forney. He's a great player. I've known him since eighth grade. We played FBU together and 7-on-7 together. So he's an amazing athlete. He's one of them ones. I'm not gonna lie. He's one of them ones that you're gonna be hearing about on Sundays in a couple years. So um, my boy Mason from Oklahoma, Mason James. I think he goes to New Norman. I don't know. They all start with an N or something. But he goes to Hooks with me, and he has a Michigan offer too. And he was up there at the barbecue with all of us, and he's a great athlete. We got the same training. He's quick, got great hands. Like I feel like we could be a little dynamic duo. So
All right, so we got some things, man. So what do you got, Zach, for Jaylen before we let him get out of here and be the student before the athlete? Because I'm sure you probably got some homework or something to do, man.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to ask you, man. I know you guys are 5-3. Those three losses, very close games. What are you guys trying to do here to close out the regular season as you get ready for the playoffs?
putting more emphasis on finishing games. In all those games we had chances to win, but we came up short. We got to get better in the red zone. It's really just finishing. Like we'll get to the red zone and go with like a 3-and-out, and then get a field goal. But I'm not satisfied with field goals. I'm always satisfied with the 7. So just finishing, just emphasize on finishing and have that carry all the way into state, and hopefully win our 6th one in a row.
6 in a row, 6 in a row. That's crazy to even think of. But look,
Yeah.
we appreciate you jumping on, man. Sorry for the time difference. My timing was a
Oh,
little off. That's my fault. But thanks for calling an audible and jumping on, man. Shout out to Parish Episcopal and all your teammates. Shout out to Michigan and that fan base, man. They got a dude coming. He's a 2026, but already sounds like a true leader. So Jaylen, we appreciate you. Until next time. You have a lot of fun. Stay safe, stay healthy. Enjoy the rest of your season. All right.
sir, I appreciate you having me.
For sure, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Down there in South Florida, we've talked about them a lot, and I'm talking about American heritage. We've talked about St. Thomas Aquinas a little bit as well, but really, man, we've had Dia Bell on the show. We've talked about heritage almost every week. It feels like, but now we're
Yeah.
finally here. We got heritage versus St. Thomas Aquinas. What do you got in this matchup? What stands out to you? Talk to me.
Yeah, this should be. I mean, this should be a close game. I would expect. You look at Heritage; they're 4-4, but their 4 losses are against legit teams, and they're all competitive games. They're a couple of plays away from being 7-1 or even 8-0. Even that loss against Milton early in the season, they had a chance to win that game too. And then obviously the Miami Central and the Norland game, and then Shaman on Madonna, all winnable games for Heritage. And Diabell, you brought him up. You look at his numbers this year, the dude's playing phenomenal. He had a very good sophomore season, but he has gotten so much better his junior year. He's already thrown for over 2,000 yards this season. He's been more of a runner also too. So he's putting it all together this year. He's having an outstanding season. Obviously he's got playmakers with him at Malachi Tony, and then you got Byron Lewis in the backfield. They got some other talented wide receivers too. And then you look at Aquinas on the other hand. This is a team, their only 2 losses were competitive games. They lost that game against Bishop Gorman early in the season, and then they lost a couple of weeks ago against Shaman on Madonna, one of the, hottest teams in the country right now. They've rolled off 7 straight wins after starting the year 0-2. So this should be a very competitive game. I'm kind of leaning Heritage just because of Diabell, but I really wouldn't be surprised either way, whoever walks out with the dub on Friday. But right now, I'm going with the Patriots to get to 5-4.
Look, man, we're gonna start off agreeing already. As much as I
So
as much as I like
that
what
means
St. Thomas Aquinas has going, what's up?
I said that means Aquinas is winning that.
Yeah, it's quite possible. But look, even though I like St. Thomas Aquinas defense, I thought they held their own against Bishop Gorman.
Yeah,
I just think Dia Bell and company, they've come together, when it's mattered the most. And as the season's progressed, they've gotten that much better together. And like you said, Dia's having an outstanding year. So I think American Heritage, I think it's going to be tight. I think it's probably going to be within a two-score game at most. But I am
yeah.
going with American Heritage here.
This is a big game for both teams too. As get ready for the playoffs right around the corner. I would expect Aquinas to be one of the favorites in 5A. Lakeland's probably going to be their biggest challenge, and they obviously wouldn't see them till the state championship game. And then Heritage in 4A, they potentially are going to play Norland again to get to the semifinals, so that might be their biggest hurdle. But yeah, I would expect both these teams to be major players in 5A and 4A this year to win state crowns. And it's crazy because Aquinas would be going for a six-peat.
Look, six, that's a crazy number. But let's just stay in Florida, man. Let's go from one big matchup to another because, like you said, there's sauce kind of all over the place. But I'm liking what I see in Florida. Let's talk about IMG East St. Louis. Not necessarily playing in Florida, but IMG.
Yeah,
You get where I'm going. Let's talk about it,
exactly.
man. East St. Louis, I got to shout them out, man. I feel like they're one of the programs nationally that will literally play anybody, anywhere, anytime. They just want to play, the best of the best to continue to get their guys, that much better, bigger, stronger, faster, and sharper, and get their guys recruited, man. So East St. Louis, shout out to them. What do you got with them against IMG this year?
Yeah, I mean, you did bring it up too. East St. Louis, they've played IMG before back in 2021. They've also played St. John Bosco, St. Francis Academy a couple of times, and also Atascocita. And all those games have come since 2021. So, yeah, they're always playing one of the tougher schedules in the country. Mad respect to the boys out in East St. Louis. They're smart because you play games like this, it gets you better prepared for the playoffs, and it's going to usually lead to more success. But I think this is going to be a tough game on Friday. I think IMG Academy is clicking right now. They're playing as well as anybody since that 1 point loss against Corner Canyon to start the year. I've been a huge fan of Ty Hawkins this year. He's playing stellar quarterback this season. SMU is getting an absolute stud at quarterback if he sticks with that commitment. And, IMG is just great in the trenches. That's usually where games are won on Friday. You look at IMG's offensive line and their defensive line, they really stack up with anybody in the country. So, but hey, East St. Louis, man, they're tough, man. That's going to be a tough place to go. It's going to be a rowdy crowd. They're going to want to get the win against IMG. So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I would expect the Ascenders to win this one by a few touchdowns.
Well, we're gonna go 2 for 2. I got
Yeah.
IMG over East St. Louis. Again, I'm a huge Hawkins fan, but I think IMG just has too much for East St. Louis this year. As good as they are, I just don't think they're going to be able to keep up with IMG. I think IMG is going to find the end zone at least once on the defensive side as well. Just feeling frisky on that one. So that's my big bold take. But I do have IMG by a couple of scores in this one.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. I mean, they played in 2021. I think the final score was 49-8, and Luther Burden was on that East St. Louis team. So they don't got Luther Burden on Friday night. So I don't know if it's going to be as lopsided as 49-8, but I would expect like a 35-13 type of game.
Yep, nope, I can't disagree. Even though I might want to. This one we'll see. We'll see. We're gonna keep it with Florida, but we're gonna bring up St. Francis Academy, who is one of those programs who like East St. Louis will play anybody, anywhere, anytime. And this is another prime example. They're heading back on the road yet again. They haven't been
Yeah,
home yet. They're
yeah,
they're
yeah. Still played a home
they're
game.
traveling
It's crazy.
back down south.
Yeah,
They're going back to Florida. What do you got in this big time matchup with St. Francis? They're 5-3, but their schedule has been outrageous. I mean, they've played Duncanville, they've played Mater Dei, they've played Orange Lutheran. I mean, they've played a gauntlet. Where do you see them when they go down to Florida this week?
Yeah, you mentioned those 3 games. That was their 3-game skid. They've won 3 in a row since that. They played at, I think, yeah, Orange Lutheran first, lost 15-13, a very close game, and then they lost 28-24 in Texas against Duncanville, a very winnable game for them. And then, obviously they played number 1 Mater Dei. I think it was like 25-14. So, yeah, I think it's going to be tough for Clearwater Central Catholic. Last week they played Venice, very tough. I mean, it was a good game. They had a chance to win. They got stopped, right around the 5-yard line, going for the game tying score. So dropped that one 27-20, and boom, just like that, they got to play St. Francis the following week. St. Francis Academy's been playing great right now. They went out to Indiana last week, dominated Center Grove. They beat a very talented Hun team before that, so this is a team I think they're getting excited because we know what they got next week. They got IMG Academy. It'll be their first home game. They can't wait, so they want to keep that momentum going and beat Clearwater Central Catholic, a team that I don't think gets enough shine. They're one of the better teams in the state of Florida, so this isn't going to be easy for St. Francis if they're overlooking them with IMG coming up on the schedule the following week. So they got to prepare and be ready to go. And if they do that, I think they're going to walk out with their 6th win of the season.
All right, so you got St. Francis. Obviously, I'm staying home at the DMV. We're going 3 for 3 right now because St. Francis Academy, they're going down to Florida. I think they're going to win. I think, with what they've got. Shout out to Tristan, QB1, young boy 2027, if I'm not mistaken. Watched his film last week. Absolute stud. Great development year over year. And then, they've now got one of the top ranked, depending upon what system you look at, Xylon Ely, right? I mean,
Yes.
outrageous young man, 5-star talent. So I think St. Francis, they're going to go down there. They're going to get the job done to get ready to carry that momentum into IMG, their first home game. And
Yeah.
they'll be 9 games deep, and they're finally getting a home game in the DMV when IMG comes to town. So look, St. Francis, if you hear me, I done reached out to your media guy. I need the media credentials, man. I'm asking early. I need to be there. That's the one I'm looking forward to.
That's
But
a tough
yes,
game to get at, man. That's always a tough one, man. Especially when St. Francis is hosting that one. You got to get your credentials in super early to even have a chance to get to see that. But there's going to be probably more D1 talent in that game potentially than we'll see this Friday with Mater Dei Bosco.
look, that is quite possible. Don't jump the gun yet because we're not going to Cali just yet.
Not
We're gonna
yet,
keep
not
this.
yet.
We're gonna keep this train going. We're gonna go from Florida, and we're gonna go out to Texas, man. Let's talk about North Shore and Acostasita. I was
Yeah,
close.
you're close, man. It was close to Tascasita, but this
Atascocita. Oh, look at that.
day,
That was on the fly too. I like it.
this
Atascocita,
day,
North Shore. Let's go. Talk to me.
this is one of those get your popcorn ready games, man. They're both 7-0. Uh, North Shore's had a Tascasita's number though as of late. They've won, I believe, 7 or 8 in a row. So the last time a Tascasita beat North Shore, you got to go all the way back to 2019, I believe. So it might have been 2017 actually. So it's been a minute since the Tascasitas won this game, but I'll say this the Tascasita team is probably better than any teams they've had over the last decade. You just look at the dynamic duo they got in the backfield with Carde Mack, a 4-star junior athlete playing quarterback, and then Torrey Blaylock, a 2025 Oklahoma commit. This dude has just
Big
been
fan.
killing it. He's been
Big
killing
fan.
it every single week, man. He's putting up big time numbers. But you look at North Shore. I mean, this is a team. They're great on defense. They're very talented on offense too. They got a talented receiving core. You know, this is going to be a tough game for Tascosita. I would expect North Shore to win this one. I love Caleb Bailey at quarterback. He's underrated. This is a guy who's been making plays since his freshman year for the Mustangs, and I think North Shore is going to run the table all the way until they get to that 6A D1 state championship game. And I would be shocked if they don't play Duncanville again in the state title game. I think this would be the 6th time over the last 7 years if they both make it there all the way to Jerry's World.
Look, I think we're finally going to get one where we disagree.
You
I
going with the
learned a lot
Tascosita?
about. I've learned a lot about Atascocita this season, and I'm excited, man. They've been riding the wave, and I want to ride that wave with them. I think they're gonna finally get the W over North Shore, and really carry that momentum into the playoffs and make a nice run. So I got a Tascasita. It's going to be close, but I got to buy a 10 point or less score. That's where I'm at.
I'll say this, man. Tascasita's played tougher opponents so far this year. They beat Katy, who that's Katie's only loss. They went out to Austin Westlake and beat Austin Westlake on the road, which is very hard to do. That's Westlake's only loss. And then they also beat Summer Creek, a team that's dominated everybody outside of Atascocita in that 42-39 loss. And that's also their first loss. So yeah, Tascasita's played tougher opponents this year, so we'll see if that maybe factors in a little bit on Friday as well.
Let's go with Tascasita, Texas, big time football. I'm excited, but let's carry the excitement. Let's talk about Westlake. Let's stay in Texas. Lake Travis, Westlake, huge matchup. Where do you see this one?
Yeah, this is not just one of the best rivalries in Texas. This is one of the best rivalries in high school football. These are two powers and, the city of Austin. They're very close to each other. Lake Travis has struggled recently, though, against Austin Westlake. They've dropped, I believe it's 4 in a row. The last time they beat Westlake was back in 2019. Hudson Card had a big game. He had 3 touchdowns and a 20-19 win. So we'll see what happens Friday. But I'm leaning Westlake here. They've had the Cavs number as of late, and I would expect that to continue on Friday. Westlake's only loss was against Atascocita. They've played great since that L, and Lake Travis, this is the first time they've started a season 7-0 since 2013, I believe. So this is one of the better starts they've had in over a decade. So, but I think that O is going to go this week. I like Austin Westlake in this one.
All right, all right. So look, we're gonna go back to back disagreeing here,
There
because
we
I
go.
think Westlake's gonna catch the second loss of the season in a very hard fought, but I think Lake Travis is I think it's their time. They've had a great start to the season. I think that momentum has really carried them into this big time game. Like you said, I mean, this is the Texas version of Bosco Mater Day. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really what we're looking at. That's the caliber of the game, and I think we're gonna see what would be considered an upset in some situations. I think Westlake's going down. Score wise, it's going to be tight again. It's probably going to be one score, but I think Westlake's going to take the loss.
Yeah, I'll say this too with Westlake, man. This is just, you talk about consistency. They played in the state semifinals 7 consecutive years. We'll see if they make it an 8th straight year this season. But yeah, Lake Travis, man, shout out to Hank Carter. This is one of the best head coaches in the country. So he'll definitely have his team ready to go Friday. And I wouldn't be shocked if they, snap that four game skid against the Chaps.
We'll see. Friday night's going to be a lot of fun. So let's leave Texas. Let's go out to Cali. Let's talk Servite. Let's talk Olu. Servite just got done with the LA Bowl at SoFi Stadium in a good game against St. John Bosco. They're playing Orange Lutheran, who this year, they've took on the big bad wolf pretty much every week. Talk to me. What do we got in this big time game?
Yeah, I mean, you look and you see both teams are 6-2, but you look at the two losses for both team. Servite last week lost 27-17 against Bosco, and the week before that was a 28-6 loss against Mater Dei. So both their losses are against the top two teams in the country. Olu, on the other hand, they nearly beat Bosco. They lost 28-24, and then obviously they went out to Vegas and lost pretty handily against Bishop Gorman. But this should be a good game. Servite's kind of struggled throwing the ball. Their quarterback, Leo Hannon's been out since early September, a Michigan State commit. Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for them to find ways to win in the Trinity League, especially a team like Orange Lutheran. And then obviously you got Bosco and the Mater Days. So they already lost those two. If they can get this one against Olu, that'd be a big win. But I think it's going to be tough because they're so one dimensional without Hannon at quarterback. Quade Carr, though, he's been killing it. Last week went for 150 yards against Bosco, and he's pretty much dominated every game except for that one against Mater Dei. So he's going to have a huge night, though, if they want to beat Olu. I just love Olu's offense. They're well balanced. They got a strong rushing game with, Steve Chavez at running back. TJ Latif can run it too at quarterback. They got talented wide receivers, a great tight end, and a very good defense. I think Olu's just got a little too much on both sides of the ball for the Friars.
I can't disagree there. I think Olu, like you said, with QB1 going down, that's kind of changed the game for Servite and the trajectory of the season. Olu, they've taken on the big bad wolf each and every week, and I think that's prepared them for the Trinity League gameplay. And I think this is going to be, not necessarily an easy win, but a comfortable win for Orange Luther in this Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, you look at them too. Last week they kind of struggled a little bit, had some turnovers, but they still found a way to win against Santa Margarita 13-10. And then the week prior, they held on for a 23-17 win against Jay Sarah. So, they found ways to win in close games outside of that Bosco loss. So we'll see, man. I think this is going to be another competitive game. But yeah, I just think they got too much firepower on both sides of the ball for the Friars.
Well, you mentioned it. You said St. John Bosco. Let's let the cat out the bag, man. We got the 1 versus 2 yet again. It's Bosco, Mater Dei. This time, Mater Dei's got the home field advantage. Where do we see this one going? Talk to me here. I mean, this is the Tyson Holyfield heavyweight bout, from back in the day status. Except, actually, you know what? We got to talk younger because I feel like both teams are really young. They're 27. They got a lot of 27s, some 28. So maybe it's not, Holyfield and Tyson, but nonetheless, this is a big time matchup. What do you see here? Will Mater Dei go down? Will Bosco run the table? Talk to me.
I see where you're going there too, because it's a heavyweight fight. That's what it is every time these two square off. And, you just look at the talent. There's 58 combined players in this game that have at least one FBS offer. And then half of that, 29, are rated as a 3-star recruit or higher. So the talent is insane in this game. And this will be the 15th time since 2000 that the number one and number two teams are playing against each other, and it'll be the sixth time out of those 15 that the top two ranked teams are Bosco and Mater Dei when they square off. Bosco actually holds a 3-2 edge when it's number one versus number two between these two, but I just I just think Bosco is a little too young to pull off this game, so we'll see. But I love what I'm seeing from the freshman quarterback Koa Malaulu. This kid is slinging the rock, dude. He is playing with some confidence. It'll be interesting to see how he plays against Mater Dei, because there's one thing that Mater Dei loves to do, and they love to blitz and get pressure on the quarterback. So he's going to have to make some fast reads and some quick decisions. So we'll see how the freshman kind of adjusts and how the game goes, because we've seen with Bosco here recently, they've been a slow starting team in the first half and have played a little better in the second half. They're going to have to come out a little faster in the first half because Mater Dei is just so talented on both sides of the ball. And you got to give a shout out to Dash Byerly, the quarterback at Mater Dei. He is doing exactly what they want him to do. Hasn't thrown one interception this season. I believe he has 14 passing touchdowns. He can also beat you with his legs. Jordan Davison's having a big time season. You look at the wide receiver core for the Monarchs, even with Chris Henry Jr. out for the season. You got Caden Dixon Wyatt. You got Mark Bowman at tight end. You got Marcus Harris. So they're loaded. They got a great offensive line. I just think they got too much for Bosco, but we'll see. And you know how it usually goes, man. Whoever wins the regular season matchup, it's always tough the second time around. So sometimes it's better if they lose this one, because the only time when these two have played twice and someone won both meetings was in 2017 when Mater Dei went wire to wire as the number one team in the country. And I still believe that 2017 Mater Dei team is the best high school football team of all time.
That's a strong statement, man. I was actually there. I think it was 2022 when it was at Bosco when it was
Yeah.
1 versus 2. Unfortunately, Bosco took the hard nosed loss, you know, and then sure as hell they come back, they knock them off in the championship, and that's kind of been the habit. So big time rivalry, a lot of fun. I can't go against Coach Negro in Bosco. I learned my lesson earlier this year. I did it once. I can't do it again. I think, and I'm going on a hunch here, and I got Bosco taking the win. I think I think they're going to have enough time, just enough time. I think Odom and Madden, they're going to have two. They're both are going to have a massive game. I think that's going to be the difference in Bosco winning is if they can get them out in space, pretty quickly, because then that's where Bosco is really going to be able to make a difference. If they can do that, Bosco and boys are going to come away with the win on Friday night. That's what my take is.
I love it. Hey, Carson Clark's been huge too, as you know, second or third receiver on the squad. But I think the biggest key for Bosco is they got to find a way to run the ball. Because if you don't run the ball, modern day is going to be blitzing crazy. So if the Braves want to win this game, they got to find a way to be well balanced on offense. Because you can't let modern day just send the dogs at them, man. They're loaded on the edge. Nasir Wyatt, absolute stud. Abdul Sanders, great linebacker. Sean Scott's having an outstanding season. And then Tomu Tupoi is having a great season, just a big time defensive tackle, just committed to Oregon here recently. So that front seven's no joke. And then you look at the dudes they got in the secondary. This is a great team, man. I hope it's a great game. We'll see what happens. I'm telling you, man, if Koa Ulu leads Bosco to a win as a freshman starting at quarterback, that's going to be insane. He's going to be a trending name on Twitter for sure, on Instagram, all over social media Friday night. If a freshman quarterback can beat this modern day team, who has clearly been the best team in high school football so far this year.
Let's go Braves. It's going to be a fun one to watch in Cali. Friday Night Lights. It gets no better, man. That was the slate of games, man. You excited? You ran the gauntlet?
Man, I can't wait, dude. Friday is going to be crazy because, you know, on top of all these going on, we're going to also have game 1 of the World Series. So we got Dodgers, Yankees, man. It's going to be a fun night with a bunch of big time high school football games and then throwing a little World Series for the dessert. So we'll see, man. It's going to
I'm
be a
not mad
stressful
at it.
night.
Not mad at it at all. I'm excited. I'll be on the sidelines. But thankfully, the West Coast time frame works in my favor Friday night because
Right?
by the time I get home, it'll be pretty much kickoff for Bosco Mater Day. Get your
Oh, man.
popcorn ready, man, because next week it's going to be fully loaded with all the recaps from these big time matchups. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Give a thumbs up, man. Like the video. YouTube loves that thing. Check out the sponsors, I Empower, the Great White Premium Apparel. Check out the Nonprofit Foundation. Make sure you follow Zack on Instagram. He's finally on there. Follow him on
Finally,
Twitter
man.
if you don't already. What's up?
I said finally, man. Finally caved, dude. So yeah, hit me on IG, man. It's the same handle you see right here. So
Let's go. Until next time, man. I'm Rob. That's Zack. Spotlight 39, the podcast. Who we going to have next week? Stay tuned. We had Jaylen Powell this week. We appreciate you.